Well, good morning out there, YouTube. This is Greg's Mowers and More, but we're going to do something a little different today. The Lord's kind of pressed it on my heart that maybe I should just do a message entirely on one of the books in His Word. The thing that got pressed on my heart is this is Ecclesiastes. It's about the book of Ecclesiastes, and what it's going to be called is Ecclesiastes, the book for the working man. Now I know a lot of you guys out there work your tail off every day just like I do, and for most men it doesn't stop at just 40 hours. You know, you go to a place and you give them most of your time, and then you come home to a family that wants more of your time, and then there's things that you need to do around your home or your farm or for relatives or for friends, or it can seem like your workload never ends, to be honest with you, and it doesn't. You have to get a right perspective about that, and the only right perspective there is through God's words and through the Word of God. Now, I don't know if a lot of you guys out there that watch my regular stuff, I don't know if you'll like this message or not, but that's okay. There was a time in my life when I rebelled against God. And I just became a flat-out drunk and a womanizer and did all sorts of things that I shouldn't do. And I had a dark cloud that followed me around everywhere. I could literally feel the darkness closing in on me. And God took all that away. He got me sobered up, cleaned up, made me a more productive and better member of society. And now all I want to do is talk about His Word. That's all I want to do, is get the message out there. And I want to encourage people and help people who are in similar situations. Sorry guys, I'm fighting a head cold here again. But it's really easy to become discouraged in your labors. And I was really, really depressed one time because it just seemed like the workload never ends. You can never find enough rest. You can never do enough. And the Holy Spirit just pressed in my heart. I just kept hearing it. Ecclesiastes, Ecclesiastes, Ecclesiastes. And Ecclesiastes is an Old Testament book. And a lot of people, they think that the Old Testament is not valid, but I promise you, the Old Testament is valid. Those guys were inspired of God. They walked hand in hand with God, and they knew what they were talking about. The book of Ecclesiastes was written by King Solomon. The Bible says he was the richest and wisest man ever. He literally had unlimited resources at his disposal. He built some incredible things. He built some not so good things. King Solomon, like the rest of us, you know, his father was King David, if that says anything. And King David, the Bible says, was a man after God's own heart. And his son started out that way. We don't know if he finished that way or not, but I don't believe he did. I hope he repented, but King Solomon wound up going the exact opposite way. His wives actually persuaded him to build altars to other gods. They burned their children in the fire as sacrifices to these other gods. He basically did everything that God tells you not to do, and then some. King Solomon was actually into demonology and summoning demons and entities, and he went the opposite way of God. But the book of Ecclesiastes that he wrote here, I hold it to be one of the most encouraging and best works for modern people that are working today, next to the writings of Jesus, of course. But I'm going to go ahead and start reading this. We're going to read quite a bit, because I think that's what it takes to get the full scope of it. So this is my King James Bible, and I believe that the King James is the best Bible that you can have in English. It is a word-for-word translation of the received and Greek text. There are some errors in it, yes, but there's errors in every translation of everything. However, the NIV and the newer Bibles, they take out entire verses. They take out the word repentance. Pretty important things. The NIV and ESV and all those, they have like 60,000 less words than the King James. But anyways, enough about all that. Let's get into the word, shall we? All right. So we're going to start right here, Ecclesiastes 1, verse 1. And I think we're probably going to wind up going through chapter 5 in Ecclesiastes. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? Right there he's talking about man doing labor under the sun. It's valid for us today. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north, and whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again, according to his circuits. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again. All things are full of labor, man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. You ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like your eyes can't see enough and your ears can't hear enough? No, I felt that way. The thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. There is no new thing under the sun. When we get into chapter 3, this goes into more detail about that and will make a lot more sense. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath already been of old time, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. I, the preacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem, and I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail hath God given to the sons of man, that's us, to be exercised therewith. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. Do you ever feel like your spirit's vexed? Do you ever feel like it's all vanity? Everything's in vain? Speaking right to your heart out there, guys. That which is crooked cannot be made straight. That which is wanting cannot be numbered. I commune with mine own heart, saying, Lo, I am come to great estate, and have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. And I gave my heart to know wisdom, and know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief. For he that increaseth knowledge increaseth in sorrow. Now, some of the younger guys in your 20s, you may not feel this. But now that I'm in my 40s, and I have talked to many guys that are older than me, this verse right here, Ecclesiastes 1:18, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Boy, that just stakes you right in the heart, doesn't it? Because you know it's true. The more wisdom you get, the more things you know, the more sad it makes you. It's kind of sad, you know. We like to think when we're young, we like to think we know it all, and when we're old, we know we don't know anything. I can't put it any better than that, but let's move on. I said in mine heart, go to now, I will prove thee with mirth. Therefore enjoy pleasure, and behold, this is also vanity. So you can see here, he's starting to search out the things of life. He's feeling them out. He's trying to find out what really is the meaning of life for those who toil under the sun. That's really what he's trying to do here. I said of laughter, is it mad? And of mirth, what doeth it? I sought in my heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting mine heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was that good for the sons of men, which they should do under the heaven all the days of their life. So here he gave himself unto wine. He tried drinking. It's folly. It's madness. I made me great works. I builded me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards, and I planted trees in them of all kind of fruits. I made me pools wells of water, to bring to water therewith the wood that bringeth forth trees. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. Also I had great possessions of great and small cattle, above all that were in Jerusalem before me. Here he's getting into the wealth, the great wealth that he was blessed with, that he had all these possessions and all these things. I gathered me also silver and gold, and the peculiar treasure of kings and of provinces. I gat me men singers and women singers, and the delights of the sons of men, as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So I was great, and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. So have you ever heard the expression, keeping up with the Joneses? That's pretty much what he's got going on here. He's greater than anyone else in Jerusalem. There's one part in, I think it's in 2 Kings, when King Solomon, the Queen of Sheba, comes over, and she's absolutely amazed at his king and all the things he has. So, I mean, if you were keeping up with the Joneses and you were King Solomon, you were better than the Joneses. You were the one the Joneses were trying to keep up with. The man literally had everything at his disposal. Let's see here. So I was great, and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. And whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy. For my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my portion of all my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit. There was no profit under the sun. Everything he did was of no profit. That's what he's saying there. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can the man do that cometh after the king? Even that which hath been already done. Then I saw that wisdom excelleth folly, as far as light excelleth darkness. So, he's saying here, wisdom exceeds foolishness, just as light exceeds darkness. Light is better than dark. Wise is better than foolish. The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. And I myself perceived also that one event happened to them all. Then I said in my heart, as it happeneth to the fool, so it happeneth even to me. And why was I then more wise? Then I said in my heart, that this also is vanity. For there is no remembrance of the wise more than the fool forever. Seeing that which is now in the days to come shall all be forgotten. And how dieth the wise man? Just as the fool. Therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me, for all is vanity and vexation of spirit. So he got to a point where he hated life. He literally hated life. This man has all these riches. He has all these things. He's done it all. He's seen it all. He's been there, got the t-shirt. And he hates life because he just realizes it's not filling him. His heart's not full. And to him, it's all worthless. It's all meaningless. Have you ever been there? I've been there. Yea, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that shall be after me. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have rule over all my labor, wherein I have labored, and wherein I have showed myself wise under the sun. This also is vanity. Therefore I went about to cause my heart to despair of all the labor which I took under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom, and in knowledge, and in equity. Yet to a man that hath not labored therein shall he leave it for his portion. This also is vanity, and a great evil. So he's talking about wondering about what's going to happen to all his stuff when he's gone. Is he going to leave? Is somebody else going to, is he going to leave it to his son, and his son hasn't done the labor and hasn't put the time in? And maybe his son's lazy. Maybe his son's not wise. But he's realizing that, you only get one go around. You only get so many days under the sun. And sun's peeking through that hole in the roof over there, shining in on me. Maybe that's the Lord kind of giving me a wink at his approval on this message. I know he's with us. But anyway, let's go on here. I'm hoping you guys are getting this. Let's see here. Where was I? For what hath a man of all his labor, and of the vexation of his heart, wherein he hath labored under the sun? For all his days are sorrows, and his travail grief. Yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also vanity. Have you ever had your heart not take rest in the night? I know I have many times. How many nights have you laid awake just thinking about the troubles of the day and the troubles of the morrow? Happens all the time, and it happens ever more presently the older we get. Oh, uh-oh. The wind blew my pages. And I missed it. Bear with me here, guys. Sorry. Here we go. There is nothing better for a man that he should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy good in his labor. This also I saw, that it was from the hand of God. For who can eat, or who else can hasten hereunto more than I? For God giveth to a man that is good in his sight, and knowledge and joy. But to the sinner he giveth travail to gather and to heap up, that he may give to him that is good before God. This also is vanity and vexation of spirit. So he's saying that basically our labors are so we can eat, so we can drink, and losing my pages again. We got a little bit of a wind kicking up here, but my hands aren't working right this morning. He's saying that those things are from the hand of God, and basically those are our rewards for our labors. I believe it's in Genesis, when the fall man comes, and God says you're cursed. From the ground you shall toil, and sweat of your brow shall you eat. So, it goes right along with Genesis. Let's move forward here. We're going into chapter 3 now in Ecclesiastes, and I really like chapter 3. There's actually a song by the Byrds written based off of Ecclesiastes chapter 3. I think maybe you'll pick up on that. So, chapter 3, here we go. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from beginning to end. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life. Also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God. So, God's made everything beautiful in his time, set the world in their hearts, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from beginning to end. What that's saying is, even at times when your road feels hopeless, you feel like you're not doing anything, God knows what you're doing. He just hasn't placed it in your heart so that you're able to see it. I truly believe that when we reach the end of this road we're on, this walk of life, when we get there and we see God, he shows us everything we've done, the good and the bad. And I believe that if he showed us that now, it would be so overwhelming that it would literally fracture our minds. There's those of us out. I mean, everybody out here does good and bad. We are all vessels for God, whether we want to be or not. Now, if you choose to walk with God and you go along with Him, you'll be blessed for that. You'll be blessed extra. But anyways, I'm going to keep going on. I know that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And God doeth it, that men should fear before Him. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. And God requireth that which is past. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. And I said in mine heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time for every purpose and for every work. I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts. Even one thing befalleth them, as the one dieth, so dieth the other. Yea, they all have one breath, so that a man hath no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity. All go unto one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. So even in the beginning of Genesis, God formed man from the dust. And He told Adam, He said, from the dust you were formed, to the dust you shall return. Same with beasts. We go to the same place. That's what He's saying there. Let me see here, where was I here? Okay. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward into the earth? Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works. For that is his portion, for who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? Now we're going to go to chapter 4. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed. And they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. Wherefore I praise the dead which are already dead more than the living, which are yet alive. Yea, better is he than both they which have not yet been, who hath not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Again I considered all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This also is vexation and vanity of spirit. The fool foldeth his hands together, and eateth his own flesh. Better is a handful with quietness, than both the hands full with travail and vexation of spirit. When I returned, and I saw vanity under the sun, there is one alone, and there is not a second. Yea, he hath neither child nor brother. Yet is there no end of all his labor. Neither is his eye satisfied with riches. Neither saith he, for whom do I labor, and bereave my soul of good? This is also vanity, yea, it is a sore travail. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat, but how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king, who will no more be admonished. For out of prison he cometh to reign, whereas he that is born in his kingdom becometh poor. I considered all the living which walk under the sun, with the second child that shall stand up in his stead. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. So now he's talking about two is better than one. Having friends is good. Having a spouse is good. Having children is good. If you walk alone, there's nobody there to help you back up if you fall. All very wise words. All have many more meanings than just that. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. for they consider not that they do evil. Let's focus on that verse for a second. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God. Be prepared when you go to the house of God, is what I believe that means. And be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. What does God want more than anything? Your heart, open ears. That's what he wants from you. He wants you to listen. He wants you to turn your heart towards him. That's what he wants from you. There's people that just go to church and, oh, I threw my 10% in the plate. That's all God wants from me. No, I'm sorry. God said I desire mercy, not sacrifice. God thinks that when you turn your heart towards him and you're willing to listen to him, that is better than any sacrifice you can make. I'm just going to tell you that right now. That's what he's getting after right there. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God. For God is in heaven, and thou upon the earth. Therefore let thy words be few. Have you ever met somebody that just has way too much to say about everything? They just talk to hear themselves talk. And it's all about them. That's what he's talking about right there. Don't be rash with your mouth to others, to yourself, to anyone or anything. For a dream comes through the multitude of business, and a fool's voice is known by the multitude of words. When thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he hath no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. Keep your word. Do what you say you're going to do, especially unto God. If you say, God, if you do this for me, I'll do this, you better keep that vow. Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin, neither say thou before the angel that it was an error. Wherefore should God be angry at thy voice and destroy the work of thine hands? Pretty much speaks for itself, doesn't it? For in the multitude of dreams and many words there are also diverse vanities, but fear thou God. Fear God. That's something that's not taught much anymore. The Bible says that the fear of God is the beginning of knowledge. We live in a very foolish generation, a generation that seeks after themselves all day long. The pride movement, politicians, wars, all these things come from selfish people, selfish hearts, and selfish agendas. They're not looking at God. They're not fearing God for sure. And they sure don't know what's in this book. If thou seest the oppression, let me get my fingers to work here. If thou seest the oppression of the poor and violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province, marvel not at that matter. For he that is higher than the highest regardeth, and there be higher than they. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity. When goods increase, they are increased that eat them. And what good is there to the owners thereof, saving the beholding of them with their eyes? The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep. The sleep of a laboring man is sweet. Have you ever come home and just been so tired you can't keep your eyes open, your body's hurting, your soul's flushed with anguish, you just want the day to be over? And then you go and you get this great sweet sleep that he's talking about right here. And you wake up the next day, maybe you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to go again, and you're just full of that spirit, you're ready to go. God refreshed you in your sleep. That's a blessing now. Sometimes sleep's hard to come by, especially for me. I know you guys know what I'm talking about out there though. There is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely riches kept for the owners thereof to their hurt. But those riches perish by evil travail, and he begetteth a son, and there is nothing in his hand. As he came forth of his mother's womb, naked shall he return to go as he came, and he shall take nothing of his labor which he may carry away in his hand. Came into the world naked with nothing. He's going to go out naked with nothing. Yeah, they might bury you in a nice suit and a nice coffin, but they're sure not going to throw that Mercedes Benz or that mansion in there with you. It's not going to happen. And this also is a sore evil, that in all points as he came, so shall he go. And what profit hath he that hath labored for the wind? All his days also he eateth in darkness, and he hath much sorrow and wrath with his sickness. Behold, that which I have seen, it is good and comely for one to eat and to drink, and to enjoy the good of all his labor that he taketh under the sun, all the days of his life, which God giveth him, for it is his portion. Every man also to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and hath given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labor. This is the gift of God. There it is again. Rejoice in your labor, for this is your portion. This is the gift of God. Your works are the gift of God. For he shall not much remember the days of his life, because God answers him in the joy of his heart. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is common among men. Evil under the sun, common among men. What do you think that could be? A man to whom God hath given riches, wealth, and honor, so that he wanteth nothing for his soul. Of all that he desireth, yet God give him not power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. This is vanity, and it is an evil disease. If a man beget 100 children, and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, and his soul be not filled with good, and also that he have no burial, I say that an untimely birth is better than he. For he cometh in with vanity, and departeth in darkness, and his name shall be covered with darkness. Moreover, he hath not seen the sun, nor known anything. This hath more rest than the other. Yea, though he live 1,000 years twice told, yet hath he seen no good. Do not all go to one place? All the labor of man is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not filled. So basically he's saying that you can have 100 children and no burial. Your children can take it all. He's saying that. He's saying that an untimely birth is better than no burial. He's saying you can live 1,000 years twice and see no good. You can eat all you want, never be filled. See all you want, never be filled. It's evil. For what hath the wise more than the fool? What hath the poor that knoweth to walk before the living? Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the desire. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. That which hath been is named already, and it is known that it is man. Neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. Seeing there be many things that increase. Vanity, what is the man the better? For who knoweth what is good for man in his life, all the days of his vain life, which he spendeth as a shadow? For who can tell a man what shall be after him under the sun? A good name is better than a precious ointment, and the day of death better than the day of one's birth. A good name better than a precious ointment. What does your name mean? How do people think of you in society? Do they think of you as wise or as a fool? Are you out there doing everything you can to shame yourself? Or are you out there doing everything you can to lift others up and help them? To be a good member of society? Little dove just landed right over there watching me, checking me out. It's pretty cool. So you got to think about that. A lot of wisdom in the book of Ecclesiastes here. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to its heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. Have you ever noticed that sadness makes your heart better? Because there's always joy after the sadness. The Bible says there may be pain in the night, but joy comes in the morning. You go through a trial, you come out better on the other end. The heart of the wise is in the house of the morning, but the heart of the fools is in the house of mirth. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. Instruction and rebuke are helpful, way more than foolishness. Fraggle agrees. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool. This also is vanity. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Be not hasty in spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. Say not thou, what is the cause that the former days were better than these? For thou dost not inquire wisely concerning this. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, for by it there is profit to them who see the sun. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. So, wisdom is a defense, money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. Have you ever seen a fool with money? Have you ever seen what he does with it? I have. I've been one. I've been that person. I'm better now. Consider the work of God, for who can make that straight which he hath made crooked? In the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider. God also hath set the one over against the other, to the end that man should find nothing after him. All things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perish in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man that prolongeth his life in wickedness. Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Be not over much wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time? It is good that thou shouldest take hold of this, yea, also from this withdraw not thine hand, for he that feareth God shall come forth of them all. Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city. Wisdom strengthens the wise more than 10 mighty men in the city. Wow. For there is not a just man upon earth that doeth good and sinneth not. Nobody's wiser. Nobody's less sinful. Everybody on earth sins. Everybody. You, me, everybody. We all sin. We're all sinners. Nobody's good. That's why we need Jesus. Also, take no heed unto all the words that are spoken, lest thou hear thy servant curse thee. For oftentimes also thine own heart knoweth that thou thyself likewise hast cursed others. All this I have proved by wisdom. I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. That which is far off and exceeding deep, who can find it out? I applied mine heart to know, and to search, and to seek out wisdom, and the reason of things, and to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness. And I find more bitter than death the woman, whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands is bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Have you ever known a woman like that? Have you ever known a woman who's like death, whose heart is snares and nets? Yeah, I think we all have. I think we all have at one point in time in our life. I think we've all had bad women. If you haven't, if you're one of the few souls who've been lucky enough to be married one time and not run the course of life as people do now, and as I did when I was younger, yeah, you can find out real quick that not every woman's a good woman, and they're not all out to do you good. So yeah, he's definitely speaking some truth there. Behold, this I have found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account, which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. Lo, This only have I found, that God hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. Who is the wise man, and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed. I counsel thee to keep the king's commandment, and that in regard of the oath of God. Be not hasty to go out of his sight, stand not in an evil thing, for he doeth whatsoever pleaseth him. Where the word of a king is, there is power, and who may say unto him, What doest thou? Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing, and a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. A wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. Does your heart discern time and judgment? Are you thinking about the things that you might be judged for? Are you considering time? I do that a lot. More so the older I get. Look back on my life, reflect on the things I did that weren't good, maybe were good. Try to see the hand of God flowing through my life, where it's leading me, where it's taking me, how it led me out of those things. And yeah, I agree. Earlier, when I said God doesn't reveal it to you. No, he doesn't reveal it all to you, but he does give you glimpses. He does give you the chance every once in a while to look back with that perspective and see your life played out. And that's what they're talking about right here. Where was I? There is no man that hath power over the Spirit to retain the Spirit, neither hath he power in the day of death. And there is no discharge in that war, neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it. All this have I seen, and applied my heart unto every work that is done under the sun. There is a time wherein one man ruleth over another to his own hurt. And so I saw the wicked buried, who had come and gone from the place of the holy, and they were forgotten in the city where they had so done. This also is vanity. But because against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God, which fear before him. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before God. There is a vanity which is done upon the earth, and that there be just men, unto whom it happeneth according to the work of the wicked. Again, there be wicked men, to whom it happeneth according to the work of the righteous. I said that this also is vanity. Then I commended mirth, because a man hath no better thing under the sun than to eat and to drink and to be merry, for that shall abide with him of his labor the days of his life, which God giveth him under the sun. When I applied mine heart to know wisdom, and to see the business that is done upon the earth, for also there is that neither day nor night seeth sleep with his eyes. When I beheld all the work of God, that a man cannot find out the work that is done under the sun, because though a man labor to seek it, out, yet he shall not find it. Yea, farther, though a wise man think to know it, yet shall he not be able to find it. For all this I considered in my heart, even to declare all this, that the righteous and the wise and their works are in the hand of God. No man knoweth either love or hatred by all that is before them. All things come alike to all. There is one event to the righteous and to the wicked, to the good and to the clean and to the unclean, to him that sacrificeth, to him that sacrificeth not. As is the good, so is the sinner, and he that sweareth, he that feareth an oath. This is an evil among all things that are done under the sun. There is one event unto all. Yea, also the heart of the sons of men is full of evil, and madness is in their heart while they live. And after that they go to the dead. For to him that is joined to all the living, there is hope, for a living dog is better than a dead lion. For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, neither have they any more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. Also their love and their hatred and their envy is now perished, neither have they any more a portion forever in anything that is done under the sun. Go thy way, eat thy bread with joy, and drink thy wine with a merry heart, for God now accepteth thy works. Let thy garments be always white, and let thy head lack no ointment. Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity, which he hath given thee under the sun, all the days of thy vanity. For that is thy portion in this life, and in thy labor which thou takest under the sun. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might, for there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest. I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill. But time and chance happen to them all. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare. So are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falls suddenly upon them. This wisdom have I seen also under the sun, and it seemed great unto me. There was a little city, and a few men within it, and there came a great king against it, and besieged it, and built great bulwarks against it. Now there was found in it a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city. Yet no man remembered that same poor man. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. The words of wise men are heard in quiet more than the cry of him that ruleth among fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroyeth much good. Dead flies cause the ointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinking savor. So doeth a little folly him that is in reputation for wisdom and honor. A wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart is at his left. Yea, also, when he that is a fool walketh by the way, his wisdom faileth him. And he saith to every one that he is a fool. If the spirit of the ruler rise up against thee, leave not thy place, for yielding pacifieth great offensive. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceedeth from the ruler. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place. Remember that. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. He that diggeth a pit shall fall into it, and whoso breaketh a hedge, a serpent shall bite him. Whoso removes stones shall be hurt therewith, and he that cleaveth wood shall be endangered thereby. If the iron be blunt, and he do not whet the edge, then must he put to more strength, but wisdom is profitable to direct. Surely the serpent will bite without enchantment, and a babbler is no better. The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool will swallow up himself. The beginning of the words of his mouth is foolishness, and the end of his talk is mischievous madness. A fool also is full of words, and a man cannot tell what shall be. And what shall be after him, who can tell him? The labor of the foolish weareth every one of them, because he knoweth not how to go to the city. Woe to thee, O land, when thy child is a king, and thy princes eat in the morning. Blessed art thou, O land, when the king is the son of nobles, and thy princes eat in due season for strength, and not for drunkenness. For by much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of hands the house droppeth through. A feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. So a house falls through for slothfulness. I can understand that. If you don't take care of things, they're going to come crashing down. You ever felt that? It happens. Curse not the king, no, not in thy thought, and curse not the rich in thy bedchamber, for a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter. Nothing is hidden unto God. Remember that, God sees all. Cast thy bread upon the waters, for thou shalt find it after many days. Give a portion to 7, and also to 8, for thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth. If the clouds be full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth. And if the tree fall toward the south or toward the north, in the place where the tree falleth, there it shall be. He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap. As thou knowest not what is the way of the Spirit, nor how the bones do grow in the womb of her that is with child, even so thou knowest not the works of God who maketh all. In the morning sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thine hand. For thou knowest not whether shall prosper either this or that, or whether they both shall alike be good. Truly the light is sweet, and a pleasant thing it is for the eyes to behold the sun. But if a man live many years and rejoice in them all, yet let him remember the days of darkness, for they shall be many. All that cometh is vanity. Rejoice, O young man, in thy youth, and let thy heart cheer thee in the days of thy youth. And walk in the ways of thine heart, and walk in the ways of thine heart, and in the sight of thine eyes. But know thou that for all these things God will bring thee into judgment. Therefore remove sorrow from thy heart, and put away evil from thy flesh. For childhood and youth are vanity. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. And the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. And those that look out the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way. And the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden. And desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long hold, and the mourners go about the streets. Or ever the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, all is vanity. And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yea, he gave good heed, and sought out, and set in order many proverbs. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth. The words of the wise are as goads, and as nails fastened by masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. One shepherd, Jesus. And further, by these, my son, be admonished, of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. He's saying, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. This sums it all up right here. Fear God. Keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment, and every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. And that is the end of the book of Ecclesiastes. So, let's have a few final thoughts here. So whatever you do it for God. You see somebody that needs help, help them. Somebody asks you for some wise counsel, give them some wise counsel. Don't give them foolish words. Open your heart. Open your mind. Open your eyes. Judge wise judgment. Not the judgment of fools. Try to live a life worthy of your calling. God created man out of the dust of the earth. Gave us dominion over everything. Told us to subdue it. Over animals, trees, birds. Pretty incredible when you think about it. God had Adam name every animal on the face of the planet. Every one of them. Then he took a piece of his rib and he formed Eve and gave Adam a wife, because there was no suitable helper found for him on earth. The Bible says he who finds a wife finds a good thing. I tend to agree with that statement. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who probably won't agree with that statement, but that's because of the own bitterness in your heart. And because I'm sure there was a lot of bad things going on there, maybe you found a bad woman. Maybe you found that woman we were talking about who is just evil and, ties you down and wears you out and doesn't help you and doesn't lift you up and doesn't strengthen you. I don't know. There's a lot of different variables to what's going on here in this world. And we never quite know if the way we're going is the right way or not. But all we can do is fear God and trust Him. Ask Him for His wisdom. Ask Him for His judgment. And you will find more wisdom, understanding, and knowledge and guidance in this book than you will in 1,000 people out here. Because not many people read this anymore, not many people study it, not many people understand it. There's pastors out there that don't understand what they're preaching. The best hope you have in this life is to fear God, keep His commandments, study His word, and try to lead well. And take joy in your labors. Take joy in what you eat and what you drink. Take joy in what you do. This is our allotment as working men. This is what God has given us. So we need to rejoice and be grateful for it. I really hope that this has helped you. I hope that it encourages you as you go through the weeks and the months and the days to come, depending on which end of the spectrum you're on, if you're a young man or an old man, or if you're in the middle, kind of like I am. I really hope this has blessed you. I know it's something a little different. I know we're not wrenching today, but I really felt like God placed that on my heart to do that and deliver that to you guys out there. So, have a great day. God bless.